All right, welcome to the daily market analysis for 14 April. What we're going to do tonight is go over updates to the market since last night and also cover setups happening tonight going into tomorrow. So first pair we're going to go over is going to be EJ. All right, I'll start at 1 hour time frame. So last night we covered the consolidation they had been doing since last week. Last night I said that they were going to come back up and retest this zone right here from this peak down to here, mid-Asia, and that is exactly where they stopped at. They didn't continue their stop hunt up to the 25 pip box. They stopped and dropped right at the 800. I'll drag this over so y'all can see. So that's where they did. They did a stop hunt outside Asian range, right? Retesting this high and then dropped, gave a W at the 800 EMA. It was about a 30 pip drop and then came back up towards the 25 pip box. There was a news release that came out, which is what brought this pair back up here to retest the high again, right? So more consolidation. There is a news release happening for UJ tonight in about 4 hours, 4.5 hours. So that'll put us about a little after midnight, actually at 1. Yep, that'll put us at about 1 o'clock when that shift will happen. So I'm expecting them to, they've already painted the initial high, right? They're working the initial low. I'm expecting them to do their stop hunt, 3 vectors outside the Asian range up and give us a M, and then drop when this news release happens. So I'll keep you updated on that. Let you know how much longer we have till that news release drops. Right now they're painting a W in the Asian to come up. All right. Looking at EU. So EU has been rising for some time. ADR is 5.7. We'll do 60 for easy math. 60 times 3, 180. Right now we're at 280. So they're about 100 pips over the ADR times 3. So we'll be looking for a reversal. We'll go to the day time frame. Here you can see they've issued us a star. TDI is outside of the Bollinger Band and exceeded the mid-level line. Gives us better confirmation. On the 4-hour time frame, we got consolidation here. They've issued us a moon. TDI has hit the top Bollinger Band at the high level line. So that gives us confirmation there. That's what we like to see. Drop down to the 1-hour time frame. Zoom out a little bit for y'all. And they've given us the initial high during Asian. They're hitting the 13 EMA now. You see TDI is at the 50 EMA on its way towards the bottom Bollinger Band. I'm expecting them to come back up tonight, giving us a second leg, or they could paint a type 1 M, right, which means 25 pips outside the top Bollinger, or not the top Bollinger Band, Asian high, right, or the high of the day, making their way up to the 25 pip stop hunt box, giving us the M, and then dropping, right? All that would be is they would be exceeding the high, but it's essentially a stop hunt, right, for the breakout traders, which is a retail traders method. It's coming down to the 15-minute chart. Again, initial high. They're issued us a star on the, well, it just shifted. They issued us a star on the 15-minute chart right here at the 50 EMA. You can see TDI is outside of the Bollinger Band and has blown past the mid-level line. So it's just a matter of time they come back up. And because it's EU, I told you before, Euro has a news release dropping in about 4 hours. Let's see if US has any. Not for another 10 hours. So we'll really be paying attention to the Euro news to dictate when they're gonna make their move on US. Correction, EU. I don't know why I said US. All right, moving on to GA. So on the 4-hour time frame, they have been dropping for a couple weeks. Since, yeah, it's been exactly 2 weeks. So we'll go ahead and pull the ADR. It is 117, right? And this is about 432. So they've exceeded the ADR times 3. We'll go up to the day time frame, check the RSI. You see they've issued us a moon, right? TDI is outside of the bottom Bollinger Band, right? And those Bollinger Bands are almost biased, which means they are almost both on the upside of the mid-level line or above the mid-level line. They are narrowing out, right? They're not wide, they're narrowing out. But again, TDI is outside. That's what we like to see. So drop back down to the 4-hour time frame. TDI is at the low level line, right outside of the bottom Bollinger Band. So I'm expecting them to do tonight what I would like to see is for them to come back up probably towards the 13 EMA excuse me, and give us second leg at the either the low of the day, which would be the Asian low, this mid-range right here, Asian mid-range, or breakout of the Asian range down to the 25 pip box, right? Give us a W and then take off going long. You can see TDI is making its way towards the 50 EMA now. They've given us the initial low, right? Coming back up to give us the secondary high. This is the initial high, right? Secondary high before coming down to retest. All right. News for G for the pound. Well, we have Australian news. Correction. We don't. That one is already passed. So there is no pound news coming up tonight. None. So we'll be tuning into that during London session to see what they have done, what kind of what type of London pattern they'll give us, and that will let us know what their next move will be. All right, moving on to GN. Cover this very briefly. ADR is 131. So ADR times 3 is 314. Not quite made it to the ADR times 3. I picked this pair because TDI is outside of the Bollinger Band and at the low level line here. We'll go up to the day time frame. Price action is currently at the 800 EMA. TDI has blown outside of the Bollinger Band, right? It's got to correct and come back in. And that blowout right there is due to this long candle right here, right on the day time frame. Go back to the 4-hour. You see you can't really see the levels here. I'll go down to the 1 hour in a minute, but this is essentially 1, 2, 3, and then you got 3 pushes right here. Right, and they've issued us a moon again. TDI is outside the Bollinger Band and at the low level line. Drop down to the 1 hour where we'll count the levels. So you got 1, 2, 3, and then they made one strong push and then small pushes right here down to the low, which would make that RSI come back up a little bit, right, to the 50 EMA, and then I expect them to drop back down. They are outside of the low level line and down here working the extremely low level line, this blue line right here. So they have to come back in, and more than likely it'll be a aggressive move. Drop down to the 15-minute time frame. They've given us the initial high, right? Hit it a second time and giving us the initial low. I'm expecting them to come up around the 50 EMA. TDI is already at the top Bollinger Band now, but I'm expecting them to come up towards the 50 EMA or this high, drop back down during London and give us either a M at the Asian low, aka the low of the day, or blow out or break out of the Asian range down to the 25 pip box and give us that W. So it'll either be a type 1, which will be in the 25 pip box. It'll be the type 2, which will be at the Asian low, aka the low of the day, or I don't foresee them stopping here at the Asian mid range or midline. All right, if there's not any questions, I'm gonna pass it off to Nick so he can cover his pairs. I know it was a lot more than I usually do. Oh, it was only 4. It's not too bad. Any questions at all? All right. All right, you're good, bro.
Okay, let me put my screen up here. All right, here we go. So first pair we're going to cover is GU. So I know we've been looking at longs for the past few days. However, with the way the market has painted over the past day or two, I have now kind of switched my bias and looking more towards shorts than I am longs. That will, I mean, obviously is subject to change throughout the night. This is really what is really reinforcing that switch, right, is they've come up once and twice here, right, but not really moved. So technically we're in level 2. And level 2 was choppy, and the entrance into level 2 was choppy, unlike level 1, right? This was choppy. So to me, right, that behavior indicates that they're searching for money, grabbing money, inducing traders, right, and trapping them long. Additionally, they came up yesterday and hit this high, right? This was before my bias switch, right? So they hit this, they came up and hit the high here and came back down, and we entered a buy trade down here, right? We had pins through the Mayo holding, right? So let me zoom in here. Right here, right? We had pins through the Mayo, no closes below, right? So when we entered in somewhere over here, that's why we stayed in, even though this candle was straight red down, right? So we still didn't have close below the Mayo, just pinned it, did it again, came up. I got distracted at work. I was looking to take profit right around in this area. And it did hit up in there, and I was distracted at work. And I missed it. By the time I got back to check the market, we're back down here. I issued the close plus 14 pips for the day. And then they came back up, and I kind of like thought about issuing issuing a sell position, but it was too late in the day, and I don't really like trading that late in the day, so I just passed on it. However, what they did show us was 1, 2, 3, and now we have 4 hits to the high, right? And an interesting part about this is they poked up above this price point right here, right? It is 1.380, right? So uh, they poked up above it and they haven't gone past it again, right? Even while retesting, they have not gone above that price point again, which tells me that they've trapped a lot of money up there, above there, and they're most likely will not be going back up above that price point for a while. So as long as it doesn't blow out the Asian box, which we're a little worried about right now, that it might just straight drop through the Asian session. Um, as long as it doesn't do that, and we continue to get them working the highs and lows of the Asian range, we will be looking for an M that doesn't come above. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes above that 138 right here, 1.38. So somewhere up in here, they're going to spike, painting that M, and then we'll be taking it short. So that's what we're looking for there. All right, moving on to EG. EG, we are looking for shorts as well. Excuse me, man. They have been sitting at this same high, right, in this range. Actually, from all the way back here, right? We've been kind of sitting up here in this range, right under the 8.7, this main price point here, right? We kind of call it the 000 because it's a pretty even price line. So we're looking for shorts. As you can see, they spiked up above it once, inducing traders long and grabbing up some contracts that are probably sitting up there, and then they haven't breached it since. So we're looking for sell positions coming out of the Asian range into the London. Again, hope that box doesn't get blown out because of how long they've been sitting up there. I've seen them before where they sit up at these highs, lows, or highs in this instance, I should say, right? And then because they've been up there so long, sometimes during the Asian session, they'll just make their move and just get on out of there because it's so unexpected. So looking for an M formation coming out of the Asian session into the London for the Euro Pound. Be standing by for that if that pattern becomes the best pattern that we have. Excuse me. All right, so moving on to GJ. So GJ, not my favorite pair right now. They've been in this this range for a long time. Let's see, 4 or 5 days now. And so I'm only bringing it up because I cover it almost every day. However, we probably won't be trading this pair at all until we get some more clear signals on the direction this pair is going to continue to go. So we will be leaving that alone for the night. All right. Last but not least, the Euro CAD. All right. So it looks to me like we might have our second leg. We will be looking for buy opportunities on the Euro CAD. See, we have hit this low level one more time. So we're looking for retest of this low coming out of the Asian session into the London, right? So a W formation down here. Again, as long as they don't blow this pair out and just get on out of there real quick for the day, we will be looking to take this long and then potentially holding it for a good amount of time. And by good amount of time, I mean it could be several weeks even. Maybe if we can get it, if it pans out in our favor, could be several months, and it could turn into a pretty profitable trade. So more to follow on that later this evening as we see how these pairs decide to behave at the current levels. Let's see, pull everything back up here on the Zoom. All right. I'm not going to mess with it. Javon, do you have anything else for him?
Nope. You want to go over what you mean by blowing the Asian box out?
Yeah, you know what? Let me try to find an example real quick. 1 second. Here we go. That's perfect.
Oh, damn.
So, yep, perfect. I remember when this happened. I should have put a horizontal line in there, or a vertical line. Let me set this up here for us. Get me a little marker in there. Here we go. Boom. All right, so this is what we call a blown out Asian box, right? And happens for a couple different reasons. In this one, it was to induce traders the wrong way and hit people's stops. In our instance, right, it will be to shift the market in the trend of where the market maker is truly trying to go. And a blown out Asian box is anything over like 55 pips. So if this box is from top to bottom, the range of that box is more than about 55 pips, it's considered what we call blown out. And it makes it very unsafe to trade, even if you get a good shift on the pair. And I'm going to show you what I mean, right? Because EG kind of did this. What was it? To yesterday, right? So valid formation in terms of like M, right? But what would happen is this box would be huge, and they would come into this Asian, out of the Asian into London, do this stutter step, and just continue with the trend, right? So now you would enter, but your stop would be, 50 pips away above the high of the day, because it's just been going in one direction without any breaks on it, no stop hunts or anything. You know what I mean? So it's a very difficult thing to trade. Actually, this is also kind of a good example, right? So valid formation, right? M, right? We got vector, speed outside of the Asian box towards the high of the day, which is all the way up here, right? These spikes, all good things. Hits the top of the Brinks trade box in the London session, right? Right at the beginning. Perfect trade, but not tradable with what we do in our risk management rules, right? Because the entry is here, right, on this bar, right? This is the bar that closes below the catch-up in the Brinks trade box, right? But look at how deep your stop is, right? You're not looking at least a 71 pip stop. That's a terrible decision, right? In terms of risk management, if they decided to continue up and now you've been stopped out 70 pips, then you're just kicking your dog and beating your wife and drinking yourself into a stupor because your account's blown. That's all a joke, but just disclaimer: don't beat your wife, don't drink too much alcohol, and don't kick your dog. We don't condone any of those things here at 10 Toes Up. All right, did that kind of cover it there for you, Javon?
Yep, I think you made it clear for him. Does that make sense to y'all? Basically, if you trade over 55 pip, you're guessing where your stop loss should go instead of sticking to a safer route. Even though the pattern's set up, right, you still want to be smart and not just guessing, because when you guess, you're a gambler. But if y'all don't have any questions, we will be back on here same time tomorrow night, or I won't. I have an appointment, a sleep study, so I will be out of the loop. Nick will be covering down for me. I know he's going to give y'all some good information. If you have any questions, hit us up in the group chat or direct message, and we will be there to assist you. Make sure you have your cheat sheet easily accessible, handy tonight, right? So when I push out the London patterns, whether it be 1 through 4, right, you can reference that. All right, y'all have a good night.